San Diego's top cop says the murders are among the worst she has seen in 3 decades. Now there's a new arrest connected to the violent attacks on homeless people, the latest incidents that led to a break in the case.
And that's why I'm so excited about Trump Ocean Resort. This is going to be something very, very special.
The dream of resort living in Baja fizzling out, hundreds of people losing money on a Donald Trump condo development that was never finished. The disgruntled buyers who fear the same thing may play out during this election year.
As they grow and as they are in the world, they'll be leaders for life and advocate for the environment.
A leadership lesson for kids, the academic concepts that may help them protect the world's oceans. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. San Diego police say they have made another arrest in a series of attacks on homeless men. And this time they say they have found evidence linking their suspect to those attacks. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy has more on the investigation.
The man believed to be responsible for killing 3 homeless people and severely wounding 2 others was arrested this morning near Golden Hill. 39-year-old John David Guerrero has been charged with 3 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 2 counts of arson. San Diego Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman says the murders are among the worst she's seen in her 34 years in law enforcement, and she says she's confident Guerrero is responsible.
I firmly believe Guerrero is the suspect responsible for these vicious crimes. I say that with complete confidence after receiving a thorough briefing from our homicide unit and fully understanding the significant amount of physical evidence they have collected today and throughout this entire investigation.
Police captured Guerrero early this morning after responding to an attack on a homeless man on 19th and C Streets. The man was struck in the head with an unknown object. San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer says the recent attacks have put the homeless crisis in the spotlight. He says the conversations on solutions must continue.
We must continue to create and support policies and add housing to help people get off the streets. These efforts will continue.
Police say it appears Guerrero was acting alone and a motive is unknown. Reporting from San Diego Police Headquarters, I'm Susan Murphy for KPBS News.
And last week, police had arrested another man. They released him on Monday after finding evidence excluding him as a suspect. The world is watching the developments of an attempted military coup in Turkey tonight. This video from Facebook Live just a couple of hours ago showing the scene on the ground. And you can see people are ignoring martial law and the curfew established following what could be the ousting of President Erdogan. His exact whereabouts were not clear, but he did appear via FaceTime on the CNN Turk network. He urged people to resist military action. A military statement read on Turkish state television says the military has seized power in Turkey. The statement cites rising autocratic rule and increased terrorism for the takeover. Mourners gathered around a makeshift memorial in Nice, a day after an attack that killed 84 people and injured at least 200 others. Authorities say a Tunisian man living in France drove a truck through crowds celebrating Bastille Day. President Barack Obama called the attack tragic and appalling, and he made his remarks at a reception honoring the United States Diplomatic Corps. The president noted the centuries-long bond between the U.S. and France.
We cannot give in to fear or turn on each other or sacrifice our way of life. We cannot let ourselves be divided by religion, because that's exactly what the terrorists want. We should never do their work for them. And here in the United States, our freedoms, including freedom of religion, help keep us strong and safe, and we have to be vigilant and defend our security and our freedoms.
A UC Berkeley student from Del Mar is missing following last night's attack. 20-year-old Nicholas Leslie has been studying abroad in Nice. He was last seen running away from the chaotic scene. A friend of the missing man posted on Facebook that Leslie was not injured in the violence, but had not been heard from since the attack. UC Berkeley says Leslie is one of 85 students attending an international study program in Nice. School officials say 3 of them suffered broken bones. Donald Trump has picked his running mate, choosing Indiana Governor Mike Pence. Trump announced it on Twitter this morning. Pence is a staunch conservative who signed a religious freedom law a few years ago. Critics said that law would allow discrimination against gays. Trump and Pence are scheduled to appear together in New York tomorrow. And the countdown is on to the next high-profile event on Trump's campaign, the Republican convention in Cleveland. Next week, thousands of protesters and delegates are expected to take over the rock and roll capital. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson spoke with NewsHour correspondent John Yang in Arlington, Virginia, for more on next week's convention coverage.
John, we already know who the nominee for the Republican Party will presumably be, Donald Trump. We know who his vice presidential pick is going to be now. Why do we have to pay attention to the convention?
That's a question you can ask every 4 years, twice every 4 years. I think there's still some chance for some drama at this convention. You want to see whether the never Trump, the anti-Trump forces who really got beaten down in the Rules Committee, whether they can still sort of find some ways of causing mischief. But also with this pick of Mike Pence, governor of Indiana, as the vice presidential pick, I think you want to see if this is going to bring the party together. This is someone who is well respected by many people who have big questions about Donald Trump. Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, for instance, who had a little set to with Donald Trump earlier at the meeting with Senate Republicans, who says there's no way he can vote for Donald Trump, says that Mike Pence is one of the people he respects most in the Republican Party. He thinks it's a great choice. Is Mike Pence going to bring along a lot of the establishment Republicans to Donald Trump's side? Is he going to bring the party together? I think that's something to look for over the next week. And also, this convention is going to be unlike any other we've seen before by design. Donald Trump says that he wants it to be different. He says he wants different people to be speaking, not so much politicians. A lot of candidates aren't going to be there. Candidates for governor, for Senate, especially, aren't going to be there. So there will have to be some different speakers. But it's going to be an interesting show. After all, the one thing you can say about Donald Trump is he knows how to put on a show from his years on The Apprentice on television. So I think it's going to be an interesting show.
You talked about the list of speakers who are going to be presenting their points of view during the convention. What did you think about that list? It seemed to be not the typical setup that you would expect for a national convention.
It's not. It's very heavy on his family. His wife Melania will speak. His children Ivanka, Donald Jr. and Eric will have speeches. There are not a lot of the sorts of politicians you usually see at a convention. Parties usually look at a convention as a way to showcase down-ballot candidates that they want to give a little boost at the ballot box in the fall. You aren't going to see a lot of that this year. You will see some of the people who fell by the wayside in this presidential race. Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin will speak. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas will speak. Dr. Ben Carson will speak. But there will also be people you will not see. For instance, the host governor, the governor of Ohio, John Kasich, who was a candidate, did lose in the primaries, has not been invited to speak. He will be in Cleveland doing other things, he says, but he has no intention of setting foot in the convention hall. Also, Senator Rob Portman of Ohio, who is a tough re-election race. You'd think the party would want to give him a boost by giving him a prime speaking spot. But I think he seems to be a little uncomfortable with Donald Trump. He says he's going to support him, but he too will not be inside the convention hall.
at the very least, this is going to be an interesting week in Cleveland. John Yang of the NewsHour, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
KPBS is looking at a Donald Trump project with strong ties to San Diego. Beginning in the mid-2000s, the real estate developer was selling a high-rise condominium project in Baja California. Trump Ocean Resort was ultimately never built. I talked with reporter Steve Walsh, who was one of the people looking into the project. Now, Steve, why don't you start by explaining to us what this project was?
So back in 2004, right around the time The Apprentice started up, Donald Trump started spending much more time focusing in on marketing his name. Now, this is something that's become really well known during the campaign, but back then it was a lot muddier. People didn't really understand that he was doing this.
And to what extent was Donald Trump actually involved?
Probably not much at all. He was part of a promotional video that was in this project. His kids were involved. In 2007, Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr. both appeared at events in San Diego promoting this condo project.
So what happened?
So 2006, he became part of this project. He was working with some developers that he had worked with previously in Waikiki. They had this project in Baja. It wasn't going well. It wasn't really selling. They brought in Donald Trump. By 2007, that's when they're marketing. By 2008, some of these investors are starting to get quite antsy about not seeing a lot of progress. By 2009, it's very clear this project is in trouble. Trump pulls his name. He eventually settles a lawsuit in about 2011 or so.
Okay. KPBS reporter Steve Walsh, thank you so very much. And KPBS Fronteras reporter Jean Guerrero actually talked to a couple who lost money on the deal.
This is our kitchen. This is where I spend most of the time, especially if we have wine.
Mike and Sylvia Rodriguez enjoy their vacation condo in Tijuana once or twice a month.
A little bit cold today.
Their Trump Ocean Resort Baja condo was supposed to look like this.
Trump Ocean Resort is a place to arrive and relax. A place where your every need is taken care of.
But the resort, planned for a few minutes away in 2007, was never built.
Big windows, great fixtures, beautiful kitchens.
After Trump began to rise in the primaries, the Rodriguez couple felt obligated to speak up. They believe American voters are under the same spell they were under, and that they're going to be disappointed too.
We were like the people that follow him now, you know. I didn't question anything he said or did, you know, because, he was Donald Trump.
The Rodriguez couple lives in Madera, California. They recently celebrated Sylvia's 65th birthday up there with a Donald Trump piñata.
You'll see.
That's me.
I had some friends that
Poking out his eyes.
We wanted to express our feelings and vent our anger, on that dummy.
Mike is a retired real estate broker. When he heard Trump was building a resort in Tijuana, he dropped all of his defenses. Trump is a famous billionaire. He was sure it was a solid investment.
All the literature and brochures we had indicated that he was the developer.
One of the things I most love about this project is the fact that it's in Baja, Mexico, and Baja is one of the really hot places.
That's in stark contrast to what Trump says about Mexico now.
We're going to build a wall.
The condos were sold at lavish San Diego parties. After the project failed, Trump announced he was not a co-developer, that he'd only leased the rights to his name.
So, in your father's words,
it's the best.
It's scary, It's very scary. And what's even worse is there's millions and millions of people that follow him, and believe in him,
Yes,
like
that's the saddest part.
Just like we did,
The couple says all they got in exchange for their money was this tequila bottle and this bag with Trump's name on it.
That's all we got right there.
That's all we got for them.
Yeah, so.
The Rodriguez couple took us to another home they own right across from the proposed Trump site.
That used to be the office over there.
Now it's just a hole in the ground.
That's where,
the hole. Yeah, that's the hole.
Buyers weren't the only ones hurt by the failure of the project.
Originally, it was an ecstasy that Trump was coming.
Victor Loza was the head of the Baja Real Estate Council when the Trump Resort was announced.
Trump Ocean Resort is more than an experience. It is an opportunity.
He says northern Baja leaders used the project to market the region to tourists and investors. when the developers vanished, Americans became wary of buying property south of the border.
Absolutely, it did damage the reputation of Baja.
Other developments failed too because of the 2008 financial crisis. But Loza says it was the collapse of such a high-profile project that had the biggest impact. Also, a wave of violence gripped the region then, worsening the situation.
Drug cartel hitmen have assassinated 23 officers in the last 5 months.
By the road, there was a huge sign that said Donald Trump.
The sales office at the proposed Trump site still stands, featuring pictures of Trump and models of the towers, plus a state Ministry of Tourism certificate applauding the project.
I guess we can't go in.
During a recent KPBS visit, a security guard appeared and told us to turn off the camera.
Is it Donald Trump esto?
Is that it?
He says this is Donald Trump's property and we can't pass.
Okay.
Trump never owned the property, and it has since been sold. But asked the name of his boss, the security guard said he only knew Trump's name.
They invest in me, they invest in what I build, and that's why I'm so excited about Trump Ocean Resort. This is going to be something very, very special.
Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
A new pedestrian border crossing opened today in San Ysidro. Ped West is expected to decrease wait times for people crossing on foot. Mayor Kevin Faulkner and other officials celebrated the facility at the ribbon-cutting ceremony.
The easier we make it to have our cross-border relationships, the better it is for our families, the better it is for our cultural ties, the better it is for our economies on both sides of the border.
About 20,000 pedestrians cross the border into the U.S. every day through San Ysidro. Get ready for some beach weather. A warming trend is bringing hotter temperatures to San Diego. Molly Cochran has the forecast in tonight's KPBS Weather Report.
Dry conditions continue across the viewing area. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. Over the past 6 hours, still relatively dry. A few clouds coming into northern California. Much of the southwest staying quiet and dry right through the upcoming weekend. But changes coming up for next week. Thickening cloud cover for tonight in the metro. Our overnight low at 66 degrees, not too far off from average for this time of year. Elsewhere, staying in the lower 60s along the immediate coastline. A few degrees cooler in the higher elevations. That is going to include Ramona with our overnight low at 54. So Saturday, kicking off the weekend, it'll be dry and pretty seasonable. So temperatures will stay near average for this time of year. We still have this area of high pressure in control. That's leading to plenty of sunshine for the interior sections of the region. Along the immediate coastline, a little bit cooler, still have an onshore flow, so some lower clouds to kick things off, but some sunshine breaking through the clouds pretty quickly by the time we head into the afternoon. Now, by next week, monsoonal moisture is set to return, and this isn't unusual for this time of year. This is typically when we see some wet weather in the interior sections of the southwest. So it's been very dry this past week. Next week changes. This area of high pressure kicks on out. Moisture set to return with cloud cover and the potential for some thunderstorms that is going to include near Phoenix, mainly staying out of Las Vegas, but nonetheless could cause for a few delays if you have any upcoming travel plans. But we will still be dry and sunny along the immediate coastline. So as we take a look at our extended forecast at the coast, temperature making it to 78 degrees on Monday. Low clouds to start, then some sunshine. Also could be dealing with some fog early on Tuesday, so definitely want to be cautious of that for the morning commute, and our daytime highs get into the 80s. Farther inland, 86 on Saturday, feeling quite warm, mid-80s on Sunday, staying there into the early half of the week. We'll be flirting with the 90 mark by Tuesday and enjoying partly sunny skies. For the mountains, temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. It'll be bright and sunny, overnight lows in the lower to mid 50s, and for the deserts, we'll have those temperatures well into the triple digits. Some sunshine for Saturday, mostly sunny on Sunday. Also going to be staying dry into Monday and Tuesday. Really not going to see too much fluctuation with those temperatures. They'll be staying in the triple digits. Molly Cochran, KPBS News.
Look at the novel methods Scott Peters uses to get around campaign contribution limits. And at why San Diego police still use curfew sweeps when other cities have stopped. That and more on the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
Southwestern College in Chula Vista will begin offering federal Pell Grants funds to inmates at Donovan State Prison in the fall. The college is one of 67 campuses selected by the U.S. Department of Education to offer the grants. Supporters of the program say education in prison helps to keep inmates from reoffending once they get out, and it sets a good example for their children who are more at risk than others for falling into crime.
They are positive members for their role models for their peers, but they're really positive members for their families.
About 24 local inmates will receive grants of up to $5,800. Southwestern will send instructors to the Otay Mesa prison to teach classes. Current law prevents federal aid from going to prisoners, but President Obama took executive action last year to offer the grants through a temporary pilot program. He's urging Congress to make them permanent. San Diego Coastkeeper is helping teachers meet Common Core science education standards, all while helping the environment. KPBS reporter Megan Burke sat in on one of the nonprofit classes where students learned a valuable lesson in taking care of the ocean.
Third graders at Joyner Elementary School in City Heights are trying to pick up as many beans as they can in 15 seconds using 2 fingers. Instructor Julie Ernest says the exercise is meant to simulate a dolphin snatching fish out of the ocean.
So now we're going to do it again. Same amount of time, same method, but something really upsetting has happened, you guys.
In the second round, students try to grab beans with rubber bands around their fingers. The activity demonstrates what happens when trash makes it into the ocean. It also demonstrates academic concepts like cause and effect and scientific inquiry. Coastkeeper has crafted 6 of these lessons for each elementary grade level and is offering them for free to San Diego teachers.
So the real goal there is that in educating students about the problems that we have with our water, that as they grow and as they are in the world, they'll be leaders for life and advocate for the environment.
Teacher T. Cadell says she plans to use the lessons next year. Her student Benjamin Ontiveros says he plans to pick up litter from now on.
It's very sad that animals die because of people throwing trash in the ocean.
Megan Burks, KPBS News.
Need some cash? Well, $370,000 of unclaimed money is still sitting in the San Diego County Treasury. The money is the result of overpaid property taxes or from people who have done business with the county. Any money that's unclaimed by September 12th goes into the county's general fund. For more details on claiming the cash, you can go to sandiegocounty.gov. Comic-Con kicks off its 47th year in San Diego on Wednesday. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando speaks with Comic-Con's Chief Communications and Strategy Officer, David Glanzer, about what's new this year and what to look forward to.
Comic-Con boldly launches its 47th year in San Diego with the world premiere of Star Trek Beyond.
You really want to head back out there, huh?
Yeah, we're really very, very thrilled to have Paramount having the world premiere of the next Star Trek movie, Star Trek Beyond, at Comic-Con. And it'll be on Wednesday night, and it'll be an opportunity for Comic-Con fans to be the first to see this movie and to see it as a world premiere. I'm very excited about it. I probably won't be able to see it, but I'm very excited about it.
Comic-Con is the longest continuously run comics and popular arts convention in the U.S., and this year it implemented new RFID badges for attendees.
We implemented this in WonderCon, our sister show in Los Angeles, and it was pretty effective. There'll be a tap-in, tap-out system. So as you come up to the door, you simply tap your badge, you go in, and when you come out, you tap to leave. It's going to give us an opportunity to see if there are hot spots on the floor. So as an example, if a lot of people are entering just through one door, we'll be able to make sure that people enter through other doors, and same thing with exiting. People share badges, and it's something we don't necessarily like, but the real concern is people duplicating badges. As you know, we've been basically maxed out the convention center. We have a finite amount of people that we can allow in. When somebody duplicates and sells a badge, then there are two people entering under one name, and that poses an issue. So the RFID technology will allow us to better track that. If you don't have an RFID badge, they won't be able to get in.
But you won't need a badge to check out the programming on the Comic-Con HQ channel, which is new this year.
We hope that people who have badges and people who don't will be able to see aspects of the show that they may not have been able to. So as an example, I think there are about 2,000 hours of programming during the 4 days of Comic-Con. There's no way to see all of that. Comic-Con HQ will have live interviews, so kind of bringing the excitement of Comic-Con to a worldwide audience.
And to KPBS TV, which will broadcast Comic-Con highlights next Thursday through Saturday at 11 p.m. and Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
And Comic-Con International runs through July 24th at the San Diego Convention Center. No passes will be sold at the door, but there are lots of events outside the convention center for people without those prized Comic-Con badges. Another summer, another opening day at the Del Mar Racetrack. Today marks the 77th season. As always, race day opens with the annual hat contest and a $100,000 Oceanside Stakes. Racing will take place Wednesday through Sunday until closing day, which is on Labor Day. North County Transit District has added a service. A vacant lot in City Heights is being transformed into a pop-up theater. Tomorrow, the San Diego Latino Film Festival and the El Cajon Boulevard Business Improvement Association are presenting the cartoon flick Un Gallo con Muchos Huevos on the corner of El Cajon Boulevard and Central Avenue. It's the first in a series of films being shown there. The movie is in Spanish with English subtitles. The event starts at 7 and includes live entertainment, games, and food vendors. As always, you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great evening.